Every year, traffic accidents cause thousands of deaths, injuries, and billions of dollars in economic damage across the United States. Despite advances in vehicle safety and transportation infrastructure, crashes remain a major public safety issue. Understanding why accidents happen, where they occur, and under what conditions they become more severe is essential for improving road safety and reducing risk.
For this project, we analyzed a dataset of approximately 7.7 million traffic accidents reported across the United States between 2016 and 2023. The data was collected through multiple API streaming live traffic incident reports provided by the U.S. and state departments of transportation, law enforcement agencies, traffic cameras, and road network monitoring systems. Using this large-scale dataset, we explored how different factors, including weather, condition, geographic location, visibility, time of day, and other environmental variables, influence traffic accidents frequency and severity. Through data visualization and correlation analysis, we aim to identify whether weather alone has a strong impact on severe crashes, or if other factors such as driver behavior and regional patterns play a larger role.
The goal of this project is to determine whether severe weather conditions are truly the main cause of severe accidents, or if other factors such as driver behavior, regional patterns, and traffic conditions play a more significant role. Essentially, we're trying to figure out what causes car accidents.
So, why are we trying to get to the bottom of this? Well, this issue is really important because it affects a lot of real world decisions. It affects things like how cities design roads, safety and policies, what drivers are warned about, and also where resources are spent in attempts to mitigate car accidents and increase road safety.
Our dataset is provided by Soban Musavi. The pre-processing included cleaning missing values, extracting temporal variables, integrating weather conditions, and engineering spatial features. We use statistical analysis to identify accidents patterns across temporal, environmental, and geographic dimensions.
Okay, so next, let's talk a little bit about when accidents happen. We're going to look at the time of day and also the day of the week. So, if we go off our initial intuition, we would think that more accidents would happen when more people are on the road, right? And these graphs actually prove that to be correct. If we start at the one on the left, we see the total number of accidents during each hour of the day. There are two main peaks, the first one being during morning rush hour and the second one to be during evening rush hour. We can see that there are very obvious spikes here compared to the rest of the times. Then if we look at the graph on the right, which is comparing the days of week to the number of accidents during each day of that week, we see that more accidents are happening during Monday through Friday, or what is usually considered to be a typical work week.
Now, what about location? This interactive map visualizes accident severity across the United States from the timeline of 2016 to 2023. Each point represents an accident, and the colors follow a 70-20-10 distribution model. Green represents minor accidents, which make up most of the dataset. Blue represents moderate accidents. Orange represents serious accidents, and red represents critical accidents, which are the rarest. As we look at the map, accidents are heavily concentrated around major cities, highways, and densely populated regions. This suggests that location and traffic density strongly influence road safety. When examining individual accident points, we also notice that severe accidents are often associated with environmental conditions such as rain, fog, snow, and storms, which reduce visibility and road traction. However, many accidents still occur during fair weather conditions, showing that weather alone does not determine accident risk. Overall, this map suggests that environmental conditions contribute to accident severity, but geographic location and traffic concentration play the strongest role in determining where accidents happen most frequently.
Okay, so next up we have a Moran's eye scatter plot. So basically what this is telling us are do high accident states and low accident states cluster together geographically. So as you can see on the chart, each dot represents a state. Dots on the top right and bottom left mean that the state and its neighbors share similar accident rates. So our main finding from this is that neighboring states tend to have similar accident rates. This is really important because it suggests that accident frequency isn't just about specific state laws, but usually driven by broader regional factors or infrastructure. Now, that's not to say that individual state laws or safety policies are to be completely ignored. What we can actually do is look for outliers to identify a state that goes against the regional trend. For example, if we look at the top left, we'll see Georgia. Georgia is an outlier because it's a safer state surrounded by more dangerous ones. This is important to notice because we can examine Georgia, see what they do differently compared to their surrounding states, and then we can find out ways that we can improve safety. And all of this makes sense. It follows our intuition. Accidents happen more frequently in more populated areas during times where more drivers are on the road. States also generally share similar statistics to those around them with just a few exceptions. So, what other things can we try and look at to find the root of car accidents? The next obvious thing would be weather, right? Weather follows our intuition as well. If you think about when car accidents are going to happen, you're most likely picturing them in more crazy weather conditions, right? Things like super heavy rain, lots of fog, snow, or just bad weather in general. However, looking at this bar chart right here, we can see that it actually is the opposite of that. This graph compares the average number of accidents per day in each weather condition. Now, this is where it goes against our intuition. Starting from the left, we can see that clear and cloudy weather conditions have way more average accidents per day compared to all of the other weather conditions like snow and ice, fog and haze, thunderstorms, all of those other crazy conditions. On this graph, we also have 95% confidence intervals, and looking at these intervals, we can see that it's just not even close. Clear and cloudy can be pretty much the same, but they are still way above all the other weather conditions.
For this heat map, we took a sample size of 500,000 recorded accidents. The reality was different. When we look at the correlation, we can see that the relationship between weather variables and accident severity was actually very weak. The temperature had a correlation of negative 0.02 with severity, visibility had negative 0.03, precipitation had 0.02, and wind speed had 0.03. These values are all very close to zero, meaning that they had little to direct relationship with accident severities. This shows that while weather conditions can create dangerous environments, they are not the strongest predictor of severe accidents. Instead, factors like driver behavior, traffic density, location, and time of day are likely to have a greater impact on accidents.
This UMAP visualization shows how traffic accidents cluster together based on similar crash conditions. Each dot represents one accident, and dots that appear close together share similar characteristics such as traffic patterns, time of day, or road conditions. The largest cluster is the yellow PM rush hour fender bender group, which suggests that evening traffic congestion produces many repetitive, lower severity crashes. Morning commuter crashes form a more compact cluster, indicating a more consistent driving patterns during morning travel hours. In contrast, high-impact daytime crashes are more spread out, showing that severe accidents occurred during a wider range of conditions. Overall, this visualization demonstrates that traffic accidents can be grouped into distinct behavioral and environmental patterns, which may help support targeted traffic safety strategies and accident prevention efforts.
Okay, so now let's move on to the results. So, what is actually causing or influencing these accidents? Well, for the vast majority of these cases, we've seen that it's not actually weather or any of the other conditions. We've found that accidents mostly happen in high traffic areas during high traffic times in good weather. One thing we can do to try and improve safety is look towards safer states, particularly those surrounded by more dangerous outliers like Georgia, while we're making new safety policies and safety measures. So, if it's not weather or any of the other conditions really causing accidents, that means people are. So why are people causing accidents? Well, we narrowed it down to a couple of options. The first is a false sense of safety. This likely comes from drivers feeling significantly safer in conditions that they would consider safe, like overcast or clear. It reveals a fascinating human trait called risk compensation. So basically, when the weather gets truly scary, drivers often slow down, they get cautious. But when the driver is what would be considered good, drivers often speed up, they check their phones, they stop paying close attention, they get careless. So, what most people would imagine to be the safest days are often the most lethal because they're the days where people choose, whether inadvertently or not, to be reckless. We saw this in the bar chart earlier where clear and cloudy conditions have the most accidents on average per day by far. It's not even close.
Thank you for listening to our presentation.